Hello, my name is Joe Downs. I'm running for Maricopa County Treasurer. And now about Proposition 123. Now I'm going to assume most of you by this point have a good running understanding of what Prop 123 is. I'll try to include a link just in case you don't know. But for the sake of brevity, I'm going to assume that you do. And so first what I want to say is in Arizona, we woefully underfund education in this state. Last I saw, in per pupil funding, we were about $3,100 under the national average. That's about 30%. That's pathetic. And so Prop 123 to that end will increase per pupil funding by about $300 a student. Kind of sad. It's going to get us about 10% closer, 1/10 closer where we need to be just to get to average. However, that said, it is better than nothing. And so I was prepared to vote yes on Prop 123. But then I looked at some of the fine print, and I really got in the weeds a little bit. And I did not like what I saw. For instance, there are numerous triggers in place. Say, for one, if sales tax revenue dips under 2% growth, or employment dips under 2% growth, the state legislature has the option to cut off that funding. And seeing as how they've been dragging their feet, they haven't wanted to fund schools at all. And you leave it up to them, they're not going to. Or, another example, it actually codifies in the Constitution the fact that we can only have education funding at a certain percentage of the state budget, 49%, in the Constitution. And I think that's the thing that irks me right now, is that you the people, we the people, we voted for this, that we wanted education funding tied to inflation, and the state legislature completely ignored that. They said, pardon my gruffness, screw you, you don't matter. And they wanted to take the power on themselves. And essentially what this comes down to is taking power away from us, the voters, so they can have it. And also the fact that it will deplete the principal from the State Land Trust Fund. And so that'll impact interest for future generations. As a financial advisor, the example I like to use is, say for instance, think about yourself. If you were having trouble paying your bills, you're working 30 hours a week, you have some savings, and you have a little retirement account. What are your options? Well, you could work 40 hours a week, and that would essentially be equivalent to the state legislature decide that we need to bring in more revenue on a sustainable basis. Makes sense to me. You could draw down from your savings. That'd be the equivalent of the legislature saying that now that we have a budget surplus, we can use some of that surplus towards education instead of putting it away for corporate tax cuts. I'm okay with that. Or you could take an early withdrawal from your retirement account, pay a penalty, pay a whole lot of taxes, and get about 72% of what you put in the first place, which ironically is the same percentage compared to what we should be funding and what this agreement will allow for. Doesn't make any sense to me as a financial advisor. And so we need the funding. There's no doubt about that. But at the risk of sounding hyperbolic, this seems to me like a deal with the devil. Because it's taken all the power away from us, the voters, and giving it to the state legislature and the governor. And sometimes Mephistopheles doesn't have horns. Sometimes he's just an old ice cream man who wears a nice suit. And so I will be voting no on Prop 123. I speak for myself. This is not the view of the state or county Democratic Party. I'm speaking for me and me alone. But when it comes to the long-term future of education funding in this state, this is giving power to people that we can't trust when it comes to that, who've shown time and time again that they have no interest, that they would rather give your taxpayer dollars to wealthy corporate donors into corporations instead of investing into our future. I think that's completely unacceptable. I hope you vote your heart, but I hope you listen to what I had to say. Again, I'm Joe Downs, running for County Treasurer. Thank you for your time.